Welcome to the PHNX Coyotes podcast, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah Merrill here with Craig Morgan and Steve Peters as always, and we are very excited to welcome a very special guest to the show. Not the first Crouse to appear on our show, we'll have you, but we're super excited to be joined by newly extended Lawson Crouse. Lawson, welcome to the PHNX Coyotes podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Buddy, I guess we should start, and I asked you this on the Zoom call the other day, but have you had a more meaningful summer than the summer of 2022?
No, this has obviously been probably the biggest life-changing summer for myself and Claire, and it's been exciting. A lot of very good things happening, so very excited and very happy about how this summer has played out for myself, for Claire, and for the dog. So it's all been good.
We're just calling him the dog. We're just gonna go with the dog.
The dog, yeah.
Sounds like Butter's in trouble or something. Obviously, everyone knows the recent news that the Coyotes assigned you to a 5-year extension. Pretty lucrative deal. I know you're happy about that. We'll get to all that in a minute, but there was a major event that preceded this, and you shared some of the details, some really funny details about your trip to Paris in the south of France, your marriage proposal to Claire. I want to get inside that moment a little more. You told me you had to lug the ring around all day in a box, and you were pretty certain that she probably saw it. But when you get to that magic moment, how did you know this was the time? I'm going to pull the trigger now. And what did it look like? What did you do in that moment?
Yeah, so people always, I guess I should say, girls always dream of that special moment for themselves, and I knew we were going on a very nice trip, obviously over to Paris and then France and then over to O'Brien's wedding. But other than that, I really didn't have much planned in terms of how I was going to ask, and the more I was thinking about it, why not do it in the city of love? And we were there for 2 full days, and the first day I also had the ring on me, but it was in like my little bag that I was carrying around, like with my passports and the cash and stuff like that. So it was a little bit more hidden. But the second day I was like, okay, I'm going to do it at some point today. We had a few things lined up. We were walking through like the nice garden in front of the Louvre Museum. And at that point, it didn't really feel like, the timing was right. And then we actually went out for a nice lunch. I forget what the place was called. I think Lulu or something down in front of the museum. And it was a great spot. But again, I just didn't really feel it. And then we had plans to go out for a really nice dinner. Probably one of the nicest dinners I've ever been a part of. We had a lot of great chats at dinner, obviously spectacular food. And then she actually went to the bathroom, and I was asking the guy, I was like, hey, like, we're not far from the Eiffel Tower, right? He's like, no, it's like a 5-minute walk. There's like a beautiful bridge there. You can go watch the lights sparkle. So we actually did that the night before. So I knew that every hour on the hour it would sparkle. And so we showed up like maybe 9:59, and then, a minute before, and the nerves, start to hit. You're like, this is the moment. It's gonna happen. And then 10 o'clock hit, and I was like, okay, no sparkling yet. What's going on here?
Oh, no.
10:01 hit, still nothing. I was like, okay, maybe their clocks are off for some reason right now. But I guess at that point, it was really beautiful because the sun was setting. Like the sun sets a little bit later over there than here, just based on the area, the north area that it's in. And I found out that 11 o'clock was when it first starts. And then from there on out, it's every hour on the hour. Oh. So I actually had a good recommendation of a nice rooftop bar that we were going to go to after, because I was trying to look for places to go celebrate after. So I was like, hey, you know what? Let's go there right now. We ended up going to this place, and it was like spectacular, like live music, great vibes, a lot of people, and just a beautiful view of the Eiffel Tower. And then, I'm watching my phone, we're having drinks. 10:30 happens, 10:45. I was like, all right, well, we should get going. And Claire looks at me and she's like, we're having so much fun. Why should we leave?
Oh, no.
I was like, no, we're leaving. We're leaving.
Oh, no.
So I managed to get her out the door. We got over there, and then sure enough, the moment happened. I went for it, and very happy that I did.
Yeah, but you know what though? For guys, just like you set that bar pretty high for everybody else right now. Like the sparkling lights in Paris after rooftop drinks. Good Lord! Like,
well, I mean, I know a lot of people like do like certain things. Like I've seen some people do like banners in the sky, like "Will you marry me?" There was nothing that like of that nature. I was just like, it was just funny because I had not one clue of when I was going to do it or how I was going to do it. I just wanted the moment to feel right and about love and everything that the relationship and
Wow.
the future should feel like. So that's kind of how it's going.
It's awesome. I think there's people tearing up right now listening to this on audio. Like that's really honestly, because what you want to be able to look back at this 10, 20, 30 years from now when you're telling your kids and your grandkids, and it's an unbelievable story.
Yeah, buddy, I did mine on a bike path in Madison, Wisconsin, overlooking the lake. And as soon as I knelt down, my now wife said, "Get up! What are you doing?"
Yeah. Well, that's
awesome. The smooth is yours.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. No, you carry on, Craig. You got a
so we got to ask: have you set a wedding date?
Actually, we just got back from viewing a venue today, so we were pretty happy with the venue. So I think we found the venue. Now it's just about locking in a date. Obviously, with COVID that happened over the years, a lot of dates got pushed back. So
yeah,
a lot of venues are pretty tied up, but we're gonna try and see if we can make something.
We'll get off the wedding eventually, but are you hands on? Are you like looking through wedding books and cakes and dresses and like flower arrangements? Or are you just gonna show up?
It's super funny because I say that I'm just gonna show up, and
yeah,
kind of it's as much as it's a special day for us both, it's more of a day for her to have everything that she's ever dreamed of. So I'm here for the ride, but I hope to just be able to show up. But I'm assuming Claire thinks that I'm going to turn into a groomzilla here, and
yeah, I can see you picking out the flowers. Yeah, I like this arrangement. Yeah. No,
so maybe ask me again in like 4 or 5 months. Yeah.
Exactly. But it wasn't the only wedding. So you actually, while you were over there and you do this amazing proposal, you actually went to a wedding, and that's why one of the reasons you went to Europe. How was Liam O'Brien's wedding?
Phenomenal. It was a reason for us to go on a trip to begin with. So I'm very grateful that, he invited us, and yeah, it's spectacular. Europe's just a completely different style than what we're used to, the way of living. So just to go out, it's definitely made me want to travel a lot more and to be able to go out and see the world. And, instead of spending your money on, materialistic things, go out and spend it on experiences and stuff that you'll remember. And it was super fun. Obviously his family's very nice people. Her family are very nice people, and their group of friends. So I think I knew a few people going into that wedding, and it felt like I left with 10 or 12 more buddies. So it was an awesome time. I was obviously very happy for Liam and Adela, and very grateful to be a part of their life-changing experience.
So was this a tame wedding then? Like pinkies out, very proper with Liam O'Brien?
Honestly, like it probably one of the most fun weddings I've been to.
Okay.
One of the longest weddings I've been to in a good way. But yeah, man, they can drink over in Czech. You think we know what drinking's like in North America? It's nothing to do with what they drink over in Czech. Beer is like water over there, and it goes down just like water. And I'm pretty sure they would keep going till the sun came up if they wanted.
On that note, by the way, Claire said that you ate every carb in France while you were over there. And there was some photographic evidence that she sent me, so I'm just curious if this was an exaggeration or if, in fact, you did take advantage of the off season.
Yeah, it was pretty bang on. The food over there is like it's top notch. The fresh bread at every meal, whether you're just grabbing a drink, it comes with some fresh bread, and I love bread, so any chance I could, I was just bread and down the hatch. Usually followed with a bottle of white wine and a couple cappuccinos here and there, and yeah, the food over there is spectacular, though. That's one thing that I really do miss. Just the midday lunches with a nice bottle of wine, and then obviously great dinners. So yeah, it was very fun and very delicious trip.
We'll get to hockey in 1 second, I promise. But the last travel related question, you mentioned you want to travel more. So what's the next place on your list that you want to go?
Yeah, we've talked about it. We had a trip lined up to Italy before right as COVID hit, and we had to cancel that one. So that's definitely on our list. Greece is another one we want to go to really bad, and Croatia's up there. There's a lot of places in Europe, and then even reaching out into like Thailand and Bali and stuff like that. Like I don't know. I think it's just important to go out and see the world, and see the different ways of living, and it kind of makes you feel grateful for where you are as a person and where you come from. So yeah, definitely that trip was eye opening for me. Like I've been over to Europe a handful of times through hockey, but never actually on vacation and been able to just relax and have a good time. So it's definitely very eye opening to me and makes me want to travel every year now.
Lawson, I know you're back in London, Ontario now, and this hasn't exactly been the typical off season for you. But what do off seasons look like for you in Canada? Are you like every other Canadian where you have a cottage on a lake that you go to? Do you work out with other players? What do you do during that time? Aside from obviously the training that you have to ramp up at some point here soon.
Yeah, I guess you could call me basic because I am like every other person in Canada, I guess. Yeah, I have a family cottage up on a lake. Obviously, this year I've only been able to get up once. Usually, I like to get up a few more times than that. But yeah, in terms of training, we have a great crew here in London. Like it's a fantastic hub for NHL players and up and coming players. So the training's always top notch. Currently train with like guys like Jordan Kyrou, Boone Jenner. So guys like that, and great inner competition. We take it seriously in the gym. We're always trying to one up each other whenever we can, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So we're talking about the off-season training. Are you ramping up now? Are you getting on the ice? And more importantly, when you're coming back to Arizona to really ramp up your training, get ready for training camp?
Yeah, I've been skating for a while. Obviously, I knew that I was taking a trip in mid of July, which is not always normal. But so I mean, I finished the year with a broken hand, so I had kind of my chance to take some rest and away from hockey kind of towards the end of the year. So I knew as soon as I got back, I'd be ready to go and train. And then obviously took the break in July, and now it's really ramping up. On the ice 4 or 5 times a week and in the gym every day, and just getting the body ready for training camp. But at the same time, it's definitely important to monitor yourself. You can't go too hard all the time. Getting older with age. I know I'm only 25, but I can tell you back when I was, 18, 19, I could just go for hours. Now it's getting a little bit difficult. So just working smart and, making sure that I am strong and ready for camp, but also energized at the same time. What was the second part? Sorry.
When are you coming here? When are you coming back to Arizona?
So actually, I think Claire and I are going to try and get back by the last week of August. So
pretty soon. It's on the radar.
Yeah, it's like if I look at the calendar, I think we only have 2 weekends left here. So yeah, we're excited to get back.
You talked about your hand. Any issues? Everything's fine. You're 100% and you're ready to go. No issues with your hand at all?
Yeah, no issues. I think it was important that I let that heal. When you battle through it, it does heal, but it heals a lot slower. So I was happy to make the decision to just, let it heal and not make it any worse. And I knew that if I did that, I would be able to have a full summer, off season of training. So it was definitely the right call.
So take us inside getting this deal done. You ended up with a 5-year deal, but there's obviously a lot of uncertainty in the next few years here, with the rebuild and the temporary arena situation and the proposed arena. So what about a 5-year deal for you was appealing?
Well, I've said it probably feels like about 100 times now. Just Arizona means so much to me from an emotional level. Ever since day one, I was working with Petey. Craig was around, and you guys know there's been some good times, there's been some bad times, and I'm grateful for those experiences. And Arizona means a lot to me with the people, the state, obviously the organization, the players, and now the new coaching staff. I love my relationship with our head coach and the assistants, and obviously the core of the guys that we have on the team. We're a tight group. It always seems like it's been that way. And, I just have a deep love and a passion for Arizona, and I believe in us. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, just believing that we can come out of this on top. And, I really, truly do. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm ready to work for it.
Oh, yeah.
There we
It was
go.
butter.
There's a couple girls at the door that were selling Gatorade yesterday. I picked up 2, so they're coming. They're double dipping now.
Sorry to
We got the butter
hurting
coming
their
up.
sales.
Out of softy.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be back around later. I can get them on their second swing by.
So, Lawson, I asked you this when I spoke to you the other day, but for our viewers, this was a negotiation that went obviously to the very last minute, literally the very last minute that it could have, right up to the start of the arbitration hearing. Were you nervous at all? You had mentioned that you had a lot of discussions with Bill Armstrong, the GM, which probably helped you through this process. Can you take us through those few weeks leading up, what was going through your head and what some of those conversations were?
Yeah, I mean, ever since my exit interview, I had great chats with Bill, and he told me from day one, like, try not to get stressed out. We're gonna make something work here. So, that it's easier said than done. I just tried my best to just block it out, and I was very hopeful that we could get a long-term deal done right from the get-go. I told him I wanted to be here for a long time, so I'm happy it got done. Obviously, like you said, some come down to the wire, some get done sooner. It's just the nature of the business, part of the game, and I understood that, and just absolutely thrilled that we didn't have to get into that arbitration and go through that, because sometimes that does get messy. And I wasn't ready to give up on the relationship that I built the last 6 years, and I wanted to keep growing off of it. So I'm very happy that we got something done.
Lawson, we've talked a lot about the opportunity that you got last year, whether it was through the situation or working with Andre Tourigny, the new coach of the Coyotes. But what did you do to take advantage of that opportunity? How did you augment your game? Take us inside the pieces of your game that helped you earn this contract.
Honestly, I did a lot of mental work off the ice. It's you're not going to be a steady player if you don't believe in yourself, and that was a big thing that I focused on in the offseason last summer, was just positive thinking, shooting for reachable goals. I actually wrote on a piece of paper, I am a 20 goal scorer. I wrote a few other things that I won't get into, but and I said that to myself nonstop. And when you put these reasonable goals out there and you stick to it and you believe it, it's one thing to just write it down, but there's another thing to believe it. It enables you to play at your best, and without that confidence and that belief in your inner self, you're not going to go anywhere. And I've said this a few times now, but having that down season the year before was a big eye opener for myself, and really taught me how to grind through those tough times, and eventually those tough times will lead into good times. So obviously, the opportunity was there at the start of the year, and just like for many others, and I just did my best to block out all the noise and go out there and play hockey and play the game that I love, and do it with a passion while believing myself, and it worked out. So now it's another lesson for myself to be able to continue to build on that, and to continue to have that self-belief and that confidence as a hockey player and as a person.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because the reality is now you sign a contract like this, there are greater expectations for you now. So flipping over to the other side of the coin, what are the areas of your game when you examine it that you feel you still need to work on to improve?
Yeah, for me, it's that playmaking. You take a look at all the stats and stuff. It's no secret I want to improve on my playmaking, and a lot of our chances are generated off the rush. That's just how the game is, been played over the last few years. The speed, the skill, and it's about getting those second and third chances. It's called like the one and done, not just going in on the rush, having one chance and then chasing back the other way and back and forth. It's about having that ability to, create those second and third, fourth chances. And yes, that does come with, chemistry with your teammates, but at the same time, it's that ability to, read the play and get to that puck and then know where your teammates are and know your outs to, create those second and third and fourth chances. So, that's been one of the biggest things I've been working on. Just, always like shoulder checking and locating where my teammates are, just so, when you get that puck, the game's come along so far with the speed, being able to know where that next play is going to be. And I think that will definitely help, create some more offense for my teammates.
We talk about your futility and goal scoring a couple of years ago. You had a lot of chances. You were around it. If there was a post to be hit, it was Lawson Crouse was going to hit. It was amazing. And then last year, on pace for nearly 30, when you come down with the injury at the end of the season and you get stuck at 20, which is an amazing accomplishment for an NHL player. That 20 goal threshold is huge. We all wanted to say, because we watched all those games, we were rooting for you to get to that 30 number, and it wasn't out of reach. Is that something you can look forward to for this year? Have you set that kind of a mark for yourself? Yeah, I got 20. I think I can get 30 in this league. And are you a goal scorer now?
Yeah, for sure. I believe in it. And like I said, on that piece of paper a few summers ago, I put 20. Well, I have that same piece of paper now, and instead of saying 20, it says 30. So, I have that belief, and the job's not done. I'm the type of person, who always wants to get better. And, just because I scored 20, it doesn't mean that I'm going to pack it in. Next goal's hopefully 30, 25 to 30, and keep growing and obviously get those assists up. And, I've always been a steady defensive player. Obviously that's something that comes naturally, but it's not that I'm not focusing on that. It's just, I realize, hey, if I want to keep taking my game to the, the true powerful power forward that I am, keep working on it.
Not to totally veer us off hockey, but I'm going to for a second, because I have to ask now that he's made his voice appearance. Butter has been on our show before with Claire, obviously, last year. And at the time, there was talk of possibly getting a second dog, and you might have been a little outnumbered. Has there been any progress on those discussions of getting another Frenchie?
Yeah, just about every morning I wake up, I receive something on either Instagram or text message of a new Frenchie for sale. I think actually I got one probably about 15 minutes ago. So it's never ending, but I mean, if Butter could talk, I think he would tell you that he's an only child.
He definitely gives off that vibe.
He's a little bit of a diva. Butter.
So, Lawson, what comes? Oh boy, I'm really going to put you on the spot here. What comes first, a second Frenchie or a child?
Oh my God!
We're getting into it now.
Lord. I think
that's a tough question. I mean, I think I want to travel and experience the world a little bit more, and Claire would be right there with you on that same page. So probably it would be easier to do that with another dog instead of having a little child too. You can't really throw a child in the kennel for a week.
Yeah, don't ask Craig about his parenting skills. You never know. Hey, Lawson, I'm going to back to one thing. We talk a lot around here about the new arena and going to the ASU multi-purpose facility, and we get a lot of haters on here saying it's terrible for the league. What are your thoughts personally on playing in the smaller venue for the next couple of years?
I'm right there with you. There's a lot of hate, and I get it. People don't think it's right, but at the end of the day, it's completely out of my control. So I'm completely open-minded about it. I'm actually quite excited to see what it's all about. But yeah, I just truly don't know why people hate on it so much when they, I understand that it's different and, it's not really NHL size, but I don't quite understand why people hate on it when, it hasn't even happened yet and we haven't experienced yet. Like, it could be a really great thing, right? So, like we talked about, I don't think there's going to be a bad seat in the house, electric atmosphere. I mentioned this to Craig the other day. Like, I believe hockey in the desert, we need hockey in the desert. And, as NHL players, we have, I'm not blind to the fact that, we have power over little kids that, look up to us and admire us. And, PD, even from my first year in the league, the minor hockey associations have come so far, and it's so great to see. So, if we can keep being that influence at an NHL level for the state, I think it's going to make such a difference for all the young kids that are going to be able to come and watch us play and, really get that feel of what it's like to be an NHL player.
One of the things that I think about with that arena, and clearly it's not going to be 15,000, 16,000 people in the stands, but we did a tour of it not too long ago. It's got a low ceiling and it's going to be crowded. Obviously, it's going to be packed in there. I think this place is going to be really loud, and I have to think players would enjoy playing in that sort of atmosphere, even if it isn't 15, 18,000 fans.
Yeah, the way I look at it, like in junior, we had a rink a little bit smaller than this, and when we would pack that thing in playoffs or like a Friday or Saturday night, it's loud, and you feel the energy on the bench. So for us to have that at home games each and every day, it's going to be something special. And then we're going to go on the road and be in front of 15 to 18,000 fans, and imagine how jacked up we're going to be then. So I think the ultimate goal is to create an atmosphere that we're a tough team to play against at home, and then we're going to go on the road and play in front of a huge stadium, and we're all going to be so fired up that we're going to be just ready to run through a wall. So I think it's a win-win for the group.
Yeah, well, you've seen your schedule. You better get used to that that road game feeling right away. Okay, you signed the 5-year deal, so you plan on being here in the future. And we talk about the rebuild. We know these are, I don't want to say difficult times, but you see the vision of the franchise. You see what they're trying to accomplish. And I know some painful times right now, but what does the future at Arizona look like for Lawson Crouse? What do you see this team accomplishing in the next 5 years?
Well, for me personally, I see, this rink deal getting passed. I think that's kind of the biggest thing that we need to happen. And, as much as we're going through this rebuild, we've had, it seems like a million picks. So, obviously we want to grow on this year, but obviously we know that there's a deep NHL draft again next summer. So, hopefully after that, whether we get a very high pick or we don't, we build on that and turn the corner. And, hopefully by that point, we know 100% what's going on with the new rink, and we can just start building for the future. We have a lot of great prospects. We have, a lot of great hockey core young guys and even some older guys that have won Stanley Cups. So I think the pieces are there. Obviously, we want to come out of this rebuild sooner than later. And the whole reason I signed 5 years was so that we could come out of it and that I could see the positives from it and, play in that new rink and then hopefully sign another deal after that in Arizona. So I believe in it. Like I said earlier, I don't know how long it's going to take, but hopefully we can, grow from last year, be a little bit better than last year. And then the next year, let's turn the page and start building. Like, we're ready.
Lawson, last thing from me, and then we'll let you go. And I know this question is going to make you a little uncomfortable knowing who you are, but it's just a reality of the situation now. You are one of the most popular players on this team. A lot of people know you. They know Claire. They obviously know Butter. In some ways, you're like one of these big families in the Valley now. Do you embrace that role of being, in some ways transcending the team and being a face of this franchise and a face of, I guess, sports in the Valley?
I mean, yeah, I embrace it. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for, everything that I've gone through in the desert, everything that I'm about to go through in the desert. And, I don't, me, I don't overthink things. I just kind of go about my own self and worry day to day. And, the good thing about me is I don't try and do things that I think people will like. I be myself, and, people are either going to like it or hate it. And, I feel grateful. I've gotten a lot of love from the fans and from teammates, coaches. So, I try not to sugarcoat things. I try and live my life, and Claire as well. And, take it for what it is.
At 25 years old, Crouser, which is still incredibly young, you've become one of the veteran leaders of this group now. That core group of that 24, 25-year-old guys that have been together from the beginning here in Arizona. Do you see yourself taking more of a leadership role in this organization as you go forward?
Yeah, totally. Naturally, I feel I have leadership qualities that, come out without me even knowing it. And, I'm not blind to the fact that, the young guys and the guys coming in look up to, guys like myself, guys like Keller. So, I am looking forward to taking on more of a leadership role and doing whatever I can to help, mentor some of these guys and, on and off the ice. I just, try and be a professional each and every day. And, if you can make one or two guys a little bit better, that's what the goal is to do.
Well, Lawson, we can't thank you enough for your time today. Really excited for you for this extension and looking forward to seeing you back in the Valley in just a couple weeks here. So thanks again.
Hey, no problem, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Crouser. We'll see you at the ice then.
Thanks, Lawson.
Bye.
No problem,
Later, buddy.
All right.
Awesome.
See you, Craig. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you again to Lawson Crouse. I know a lot of fans, and you could see it in the comments of our YouTube chat, just really excited that Lawson's going to be part of this team for at least the next 5 years. And you heard from his answers, he's really dedicated to this team and being a part of this team's future.
So we talked about at the end, the leadership bit. They've held out presenting a C for an entire season. Is he on the short list?
To me, he is, but it's not my decision to make. Obviously,
I thought it was.
It's Andre Tourigny's decision, and the player. It's as Andre has always said, he wants that to develop organically. Yeah. Leaders will present themselves. It will be obvious. He said it'll be obvious to the GM. It'll be obvious to me. It'll be obvious to the team who our captain is. I know Andre believes in more of a leadership group than he believes in handing that seed to one person. So I don't know how this is going to play out, but Lawson Crouse is certainly a part of the leadership group on this team. And
I think by signing the 5-year deal, he cemented that for me. Like it's, I want to be here, because you have heard other players saying, maybe I don't want to be here. Maybe I want to go somewhere else during the rebuild. And he's the guy that's committed to it. I want to be here. I want to be here when this team wins. I've been here from the beginning. I want to see this thing through. Loves the Valley. When he said that, when I saw it in the comments, a young Shane Doan. That's really what struck me.
Where I went.
Yep.
He's a guy that, okay, this means something more than the game of hockey to him, this community. So that I was thoroughly impressed with it.
And I don't want to make all the comparisons. You don't want to say he's exactly like Shane Doan, because they're obviously their own people. But two qualities that Lawson Crouse has that remind me so much of Shane is he has genuine humility. First of all, you'll meet a lot of people who profess to be humble, but you can't fake that one. And he is genuinely humble. And then the other thing is he's just genuine, period. He talked about that. I'm going to be me. I'm not going to try and do something to make people like me. I'm just going to be who I am. And that comes through whenever you deal with this guy. He is the genuine article. Those two things remind me of Shane so much.
He's easy to root for. Yeah. And if you're a Coyotes fan or a hockey fan in general, he's a guy you root for, because he does things the right way and he's a good person. So I'm excited to see what he can become offensively for this team, because when you got him, he's a high draft pick from Florida, and you go, he's going to be a goal scorer. Well, he really wasn't. He was an all-around player, 200-foot player, could play physical if he needed to, help separate guys from the puck. Now he's a goal scorer. You score 20 goals in the league, you become a goal scorer. So I think I'm excited to see where he can take his game this next season. You got Schmaltz, Keller, and who knows what young kids are going to emerge through this team in the next year or two. It's going to be fun to watch. I'm really excited. I'm glad he took the time. I know the Gatorade sales in the London neighborhood went down. I feel bad for those girls sitting out there crying at the front door right now. It's terrible.
Well, one of the things that stood out was how he wrote down on the piece of paper, not just that, like, oh, I'm going to, like, saying that I am. It's kind of an affirmation, and the fact that he changed it to 30 and he was so confident in that. We mentioned that he almost hit that. Like, seriously, to me, knowing that, and I have a similar feeling right now after we interviewed Coach Tierney. It's like the feeling of you would run through a wall for them. That's kind of how I feel after talking to Lawson and hearing what he has to say and the confidence in this market, in this team, and his own game. I don't know. He might be an anytime goal scorer if you're looking for one on the DraftKings Sportsbook app.
I'll put him on the first. I'll put him on the first game.
That's your segue.
The first game, I will put him as the first. Not anytime. I'll put him as the first goal scorer of the season on game one.
I love that. I love that bet. I'll be betting on Lawson a bunch this season. I already know. And I'll do that on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. There's so much once the season gets started that you can bet on, including first goal scorer, anytime goal scorer, anytime point scorer, power play point. There's just so much on there. So check it out if you haven't already. World Juniors odds are on there. You can bet on those games. So plenty to bet on even when hockey season isn't going on. If you haven't already, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code PHNX. Make your first deposit and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code PHNX only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. What were you going to say, Craig?
I was going to say, the gap between 20 and 30 goals, this, PD, that's a big leap.
Huge.
If you are a 30-goal scorer in the NHL, that's a really big deal. I don't know if he'll get to 30. If he can be 20, 25, he can get to 25. He was on track for 25 when he got injured. That's a hell of an accomplishment into this league. But it was interesting to hear him say that the playmaking side of it is the side that he needs to work on. If you look at his assist totals, they haven't been that high. And some of it's the situations he's put in, right? Whether he's net front or he's receiving a pass off the rush and he's one-timing it, things like that. But if he can elevate that side of his game, he can be a point producer, more of a high point producer. And that's another way to increase his value to the team.
Yep.
Yeah, I think his ceiling, we said, is high, but he's got to get into those offensive positions, meaning he's got to get on that first power play unit. You got to get on that group if you want to get 30. I mean, and those are the situations, opportunities he traditionally doesn't get that first look on the power play. So who knows? I do know that these little victories like Lawson Crouse, and we say Keller's got a career last year, the fear starts coming in that this team might be too good. And honestly, if you're going through a rebuild, you need to rebuild. And we talked about bad for Bedard or dishonor for Connor. This is the year. You have to do it again this year. And I know thinking of 82 games of this again is going to be miserable for everybody and all the pack therapy, but you have to do it. You have to go through it if you really want to be a team that's competing for a Stanley Cup. And you see this and he gets it. I know he gets it. And I know he understands it, but it's still hard to do in that room. And they're going to have to find a way to get through another 82-game season.
Yeah, because and it's not just Connor Bedard. Look, the chances of getting the top overall pack are still if anybody knows it, the Coyotes fans know it, that it's still really hard to do. But this draft has some really elite players at the top. I mean, if you're picking Adam Fantilli, you're still really happy you're getting a big elite center. So they just have to make sure that they're in that group to get one of those picks. And by the way, and I had sent this to Sean a little earlier, one of the things that, when you talk about players at this level, you think, my God, to get to this elite level is such an accomplishment. Lawson Crouse is an athlete, and I know this because his dad sent me a video last year when they were at Ohio State. He was taking BP. Here, we have it right here, where Lawson's just going yard.
Jeez.
Wow.
Going yard here.
Good swing from the left side of the plate.
How about that, huh?
Wow.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean, he never pursued it, obviously, because hockey was his first love, but, who knows?
What an athlete.
Right? Exactly. Can you imagine having those kinds of skills where you could do it in two different sports?
But if you can, there's the only drawback of baseball, because if you could be a pro athlete, sign me up for baseball all day long. Summer in the sun,
but
nice and warm. But 162 games might be the breaker.
Buddy, what's going on with your Twins, by the way?
No, they'll be all right.
Okay.
They'll get first place. A lot of injuries right now for the Twins. But you look at, I'm trying to think what I was trying to segue out of this baseball thing. I was amazed. But there are so many good athletes on this Arizona hockey team this year. I'm curious to see. I've seen the DraftKings over is 65.5 points. Last year they finished with 57. Where does this team end up?
65 is too much.
I do. I think so.
I think
it's too much to accomplish what they want to accomplish.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I remember having this discussion last year where we thought, is this team going to be better than we thought? But look at the individual breakout seasons that people were still able to have, and the team was still able to finish 31st. I think those two things can coexist.
And that's what we need.
Yeah.
For fans.
Yes.
And remember, too, they're players like on this team now, when you look at a Shane Gostisbehere or even maybe a Nick Ritchie, those are guys that if they perform like they did last year, they'll be gone on the trade deadline.
And you also look at a team that's got 20 of the first 24 on the road. Yeah, I don't care how good your team is. That's tough. Yep. That first 25, 30 game stretch is going to be so emotionally difficult to get through. And we're going to talk about it as the season progresses, because Craig's going to be on some of those trips, and you're going to see it's hard. And it's just not hard on the players playing in these road buildings all the time. You're away from your family. The staff is away from their kids, and players are away from their kids and their wives and their girlfriends. And guess what? The sun doesn't shine every day when you go to the upper Northeast or the upper Northwest. And it's cold, and it's not Arizona, and you miss the sun every day. We take it for granted here. That 30 days that they start the season with is going to be so difficult. I don't know how they can come through that and go, okay, we're have a winning record through it. I don't know how they're going to do it. So I think that you pull that into it and go, yeah, I think they might have a tough time again next year.
Yeah, lucky for us when we have our post-game shows after many losses, we'll have 4 Peaks in the fridge. Craig will be at the games, so
thanks,
he will.
Thanks for reminding
He'll be
me.
calling in.
How do we
Petey
feel
and I
about
will
post-game shows from 4 Peaks? I mean, I can get there pretty easily from the arena now.
That could be fun.
Just saying.
Just throwing that out. That could be fun.
I drained my fridge of 4 Peaks last night, so
Yeah,
I got to restock. I know, for no real reason on a Tuesday. Whoops.
Should we ask for details on that?
No,
What does
that's
that mean?
it. I'm out of
draining
kilt
it?
lifters. I got to go restock it.
Well, good thing, like I said, we'll have a full, in our new office that we're moving to, this is our third to last show in this particular studio, but we'll have a fridge and a beer fridge in that new office.
Really?
Yep.
Got a whole kitchen.
Yeah, we got a whole kitchen. It's going to be amazing. And it's going to be stock full of 4 Peaks. So if you haven't already, try 4 Peaks, but you must be 21 or older and enjoy responsibly. And please, if you haven't also already, enter the Toast of the Month sweepstakes. We need our next winner. You can win a $50 4 Peaks gift card, a PHNX shirt of your choice, and a PHNX annual membership. Go to gophnx.com or click on the link in the show notes. I want to quickly get to this because we haven't even talked about this at all. What do you guys think about the term and the money on this extension?
I know there was some national analysis of this saying that the AAV was a little high. And maybe you can make that argument. When I look at this, I say he's giving up 3 years of unrestricted free agency. So the price is going to jump. That's the reality of it, because you get more expensive when you're on the open market. But when you look at a guy who, if you look at his analytics, for instance, if you do it over a 3-year period, well, last season was the only time when Lawson really got the sort of opportunities, that could help him excel in certain areas. And I think he really took advantage of it. So I still think this is a guy that's on the upward swing of his career. I think he brings other intangibles to the table as well. We talked about some of those with the leadership, with the type of character, as Bill Armstrong always says, we want guys who want to be here, and clearly Lawson Crouse wants to be there. I think when you put all that together, I get it. I understand this deal. I think it makes sense.
I think it's a win-win. I think it's a good deal for both parties. And you talk about arbitration, how difficult that process can be on both entities. It's hard to come away from that with a happy, good feeling. This has a potential to be a really good deal for the Coyotes if he continues to hit these benchmarks like we talked about offensively. If he becomes a leader, and you look at this, the year 4 and 5, this team potentially is now looking at a playoff spot. Well, now you've got a guy who believes in the organization. I think that's huge value on this contract. And for Lawson, he's earned it. I think he's happy.
And Bill said that.
Yeah. And both parties walk away happy here, and that doesn't always happen in a long, drawn-out negotiation. But I think it's a good number, and I'm thrilled to see him in a Coyote jersey for the next 5 years. I think that's great.
Yeah, and he said that hopefully it's not the last contract he signs here either. So, in 5 years from now, this might be the start of the team getting really exciting and really competitive. And I hope that he earns himself another great deal at that point, because he's, fans love him here. So really excited for him. One last note before we head out. The World Juniors started yesterday. We talked about it in our audio show.
If a World Junior tournament takes place in an empty arena, does it really happen?
Holy shit. If anyone saw, first of all, watch the game, which I couldn't because I don't have NHL Network. I was just reading the tweets and my friend was live texting me. A, but B, if you just saw on Twitter the pictures of the arena. First of all, Coyotes fans very well represented.
A large percentage.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, it's interesting because everything that's happened in the hockey universe has happened at Edmonton Arena. I mean, that was where the bubble was. They've had other world tournaments there. It's a big deal because it's easy with the hotels and restaurants and the way they set up for the bubble. It's easy to have these kind of events here. The problem is, one, you tap out that market because how many tournaments like this and how many hockey events can they continue to support financially? So I think that's part of it. I think the timing in August
rescheduled,
is really hard.
Tough.
You look at this as a December, January, event, and I think it does extremely well in the middle of hockey season. Hockey's buzzing all around North America and the world, and now it just isn't. And it doesn't have that same feel as a regular World Junior tournament. So I don't know if that's part of the problem. Craig, you mentioned the price of tickets. It's a big ask for the price of the tickets right now. I'm
Yeah.
I'm surprised still, though.
Yeah, it's a big ask when you consider, well, I mean, and this is beyond anyone's control other than Vladimir Putin's. Russia's not there, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have a marquee team there. And a lot of these teams are missing stars, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of good players. So I don't know.
And maybe as the tournament, Canada, if Canada goes 5-0 and they're playing in the semifinals against the Americans, the building will be rocking. I mean, it's again, we talked about this yesterday. You got Austria and Latvia and the teams that aren't going to compete as well. Even Germany that the Americans beat yesterday 5-1. There are teams that they're the haves and the have-nots, and once they separate that and get into the medal rounds, I think you'll see bigger crowds. More importantly, the hockey is going to be extremely good. That American team, that's a good hockey team.
Saw Logan Cooley got on the board last night.
Yes, he did.
Driving the net on the power play. He's showing some speed and some skill. I like this American team the way they look, but we've got to see them against the Swedes.
Right.
Yep, definitely. Well, for those who are actually in the crowd,
yeah,
the few and far between, I am sure some of them stocked up on FOCO before they went to Edmonton, and why wouldn't you? Because it's the leader in sports merchandise and collectibles. FOCO's got you covered with the best Arizona merchandise. They've officially licensed gear for men, women, and kids, and everything from bobbleheads to swimsuits to Crocs. Head on over to foco.com, that's FOCO.com, or click the link below in the description for all non-presale items. Use the promo code PHNX for 10% off. If you haven't read Craig's story on Lawson Crouse already, do so at gophnx.com. It gets a little bit more into the details of...
And it's unlocked.
In the engagement and all of that stuff. So that was fun. But also just more details in general. And there's quotes from Bill Armstrong in there as well. So become a member at gophnx.com to access all of the other stories behind the paywall as well. Sign up for an annual membership. Get a shirt from the locker when you sign up, or try your first month just 50 cents. If you want to do month to month, join the members only Discord as well. We have a blast in there. We got another Coyotes player joining us tomorrow. Lots of players on our show this week. New Coyote Nick Bukestad will be on our show tomorrow live at 11 a.m. as well. So we'll get to know him. Kind of different ends of the spectrum. Crouse, he's well known, and just signed an extension. And we got Nick, so we'll get to know him a little better.
Nick and
tomorrow.
Petey might talk Minnesota for the
it's going
entire
to be
show.
a Minnesota Hockey Love Fest tomorrow for sure. We're going to talk Minnesota High School. We're talking the Beauty League. A lot of Minnesota hockey talk tomorrow. I'm a big fan. I'm telling you.
Yep.
So I'm
you were
excited to have him on the show.
when they
I like
signed
him as a player
Yeah.
too. I think he fits in with this team. I think he's going to be a big piece of what they're doing this season. I really like Nick Bukestad.
Yep. Any final notes before we head out?
That's it.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Can we, like, this studio, I'm about had it with Studio B because maybe it's a good thing, but I can't see Craig. Like, that microphone, these microphone stands just are hard and unruly. I know no one cares, like first world problems, but I can't see Craig because the microphone's in the way.
Remember when you didn't have a rant on Friday? And you're like, I rant about everything.
I know, I do rant about it. That's
Now we got a
driving me.
microphone
I can't
rant.
see him the whole show, so I got to lean forward.
I think it's the pillow that I gave Leah. It was
Pillow.
strategic.
It did push me forward.
Yeah, forced her to raise the microphone. So
It is
it
very comfortable.
It might be.
It is very comfortable.
Leah's on board with
Sorry.
the pillows now.
Yeah,
I just had
And the 8th Street
get that
chicken
out.
strips, just saying.
Yeah, Craig's a trendsetter for sure.
And we have to move all this stuff out.
Very low-key
Yes, we
trendsetter.
do. We do.
Yeah.
We'll get into more of that on Friday.
Can we start taking stuff apart on Friday?
Sure, why not?
Are we the last show in the studio? No.
Unfortunately.
Can we
we're
take memorabilia? I suppose that all has to go to the new studio.
not. Okay. Anyway, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, PHNX Sports. We'll be live Thursday and Friday at 11 a.m. Follow PHNX Sports across all social platforms. If you haven't filled out the Arizona Sports bingo card that was just tweeted out this morning at PHNX_sports, it's really fun. Sending your submissions. There's a few applicable to being a Coyotes fan on there as well. And then follow us on Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes. We appreciate your support. Thanks again to Lawson Crouse for joining us today, and to Butter for giving his 2 cents to the Gatorade girls at the door. And everybody, thanks so much for watching and chiming in with your comments. As always, please like and subscribe and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts as well. We'll be back here live at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Until then, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.